In this video, we're going to show you how to install the brake flex hose on your Explorer Interceptor located behind your rear wheels. Let's go ahead and remove the center cap after your vehicle has been raised and supported. I'm going to use a small pry bar, gently pop that off. Using a 19mm socket, we're going to loosen and remove the lug nuts. Go ahead and grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. If you follow your flex hose up here, it joins to a hard line. Now we want to go ahead and separate this fitting from the flex hose. Now this is a key thing here. You want to be careful when you start to unthread this here. You don't want the hard line to spin with it. So it's always a best plan to go ahead and spray this down with a little bit of rust penetrant, not only on the threads, but where the hard line goes into the nut. Use a 13mm wrench. You can use a flare wrench if you want, and you want to go ahead and loosen this. And you can see our hard line is kind of moving with it. What you're going to do is loosen it and tighten it, loosen it and tighten it, and then go a little bit further. Loosen it and tighten it, go a little bit further, and repeat this process. Once you get so far, go ahead and tighten it all the way down. What you're doing is you're cleaning the threads, and it doesn't hurt periodically to continue to spray some rust penetrant in there and work that into the threads. Now we do have a catch can underneath to catch our brake fluid. You are going to lose some brake fluid. So it's best to use gloves when doing this job. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses. I can see some of that rust penetrant working, is doing its job there. Now the next thing we're going to do is, obviously we're not all the way out here, but right here is a retainer clip, and we call it a horseshoe clip. I'm going to use a pair of pliers here. I'm going to grab the tab on the outside, and I'm going to pull that off. You're going to pull towards you, wiggle it. And you're going to see why we call it a horseshoe clip in just a second here. There it is right there. Now it has a curve to it, a little arch to it, so you want to make sure that that tab that you put your pliers on to pull it off faces upward when you reinstall it. Next thing you want to do is clean up, get rid of this debris, get all kinds of dirt and garbage. I'm just using some spray solvent. And let's continue to unthread our hard line. Now we're going to be moving quick here. Once we get this line, or this hard line, unthreaded, then we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Now I'm wiggling this. This hose should be loose inside this bracket, but I have some rust buildup here. I'm going to go ahead and gently tap this with my hammer. I want to go ahead and break this free. There it is. You can see that broke free there. Unthread this. You see that brake fluid starting to run out. There it is. Using a 16mm wrench on the caliper side, I want to go ahead and loosen that. Let's go ahead and thread that out. Chances are you're going to have brake fluid all over your gloves. Once you get that out, we're going to go ahead and wipe our hands before we grab the new line. Go ahead and grab your new line. And let's go ahead and thread that in. The new line is a 15 millimeter, not a 16. So grab that 15 millimeter wrench. You want to snug that in there pretty good. Bring your line up top. Get that lined up, and let's go ahead and get that line started in here. Snug that gently. Let's grab our horseshoe clip. You want to make sure that that horseshoe clip is clean. Inspect it. Make sure that it's still solid. If it's rusty, it's a perfect time to go ahead and replace it. Push this up into the bracket. It's going to have a stopper on it with an open collar that's going to accept the horseshoe clip. Get that into place. Sometimes you have to get it started with your pliers to walk that in. And just tap that in. Once it's secure, you can go ahead and tighten down that line. You know, make sure it's good and snug. Spray it down with some spray solvent. Wipe it down. Don't forget to wipe down the rest of the hose too. Right on the back of the brake caliper right here is going to be your bleeder screw. Now ours has a rubber cap on it. You go ahead and pop that off. If yours does not have the rubber cap, it's totally fine. Set that aside. Using an 11 millimeter wrench, we're going to use the box side here. And what we're going to do is we're going to loosen that. So turn it counterclockwise, crack it open, and we're going to watch right here for the fluid to come out. Now the port is facing upward, and we're going to watch for bubbles and fluid. Our goal here is to go ahead and get all of the air bubbles out and get a solid stream of fluid, and this is considered a gravity bleed for this wheel. Now that we have the fluid coming out, sometimes shaking the flex hose will assist in getting air bubbles out. Now at this point here, we don't have any more air bubbles coming out, so what we're going to do is go ahead and close this up. Snug that down gently. Be sure to use some solvent to go ahead and clean up any of that old brake fluid. Wipe it all down. Install the rubber cap. Now the next thing you want to do is hop into the vehicle. You want to go ahead and pump up the brakes. You're going to make sure that your brake pedal feels good. If the brake pedal feels mushy after about 4 or 5 presses to the floor, you want to go ahead and repeat this process. If the pedal still feels mushy after that, you then want to go ahead and proceed to the brake bleeding process for the entire vehicle. Don't forget to go ahead and top off the brake fluid underneath the hood. Go ahead and grab your wheel, line it up on the studs. Let's go ahead and get the lug nuts started. Once we get them all started, we'll go ahead and snug them down. When tightening these down, it's best if you do it in a crisscross or a star pattern. You want to get and torque down the lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds. You want to do this preferably in a crisscross pattern. Once you're all set, go ahead and grab that center cap. Going to line up these dimples here with the lug nuts. Pop it on, and you're all set. With the hood open, go ahead and locate your master cylinder reservoir, which is right here on the driver's side of the firewall. Now before we open this up, I want to go ahead and use some spray solvent and spray off around the top and wipe it down. I want to make sure that we don't introduce any debris into the brake system by doing so. Open up the cap. Now on the cap, in most cases you're going to notice that it tells you what type of brake fluid to use. In our case it says DOT 4, so we want to go ahead and make sure we have that ready to go. Next, we're going to go ahead and use an evacuation tool. You can use a turkey baster or something like this here to go ahead and pull out as much of that brake fluid as possible. You may not be able to get a lot out, but you want to go ahead and clean out what you can. Have a separate container to put that into. And continue to do this. Now in our case, due to the design here, we can't get a lot out, but that's fine. We got it out as much as we could. Next thing you want to do, grab a clean funnel. And we want to top this off with clean brake fluid. Now because we're going to be performing a brake bleeding process, we're allowed to go ahead and overfill this above the fill line. Grab our cap, put it on, and seal it up. Now we're going to start our brake bleeding process. Now we have someone inside the vehicle going to help us out with this. Now we're going to start at the right rear, which is the passenger side rear. Then we're going to go over to the left rear, and then over to the right front, and we're going to end with the driver's side front. Now we have a container here with a hose. We have our 10mm wrench, and what we're going to do is we're going to have the person inside the vehicle pump up the brakes about 3 to 4 times and hold that pressure. Then what I'm going to do while they're holding pressure, we're going to open this up, release the pressure, and we're going to repeat this several times to get some of that dirty fluid out as well as any air bubbles. Okay, pump them up. Okay, they inform me that they're holding, so we're going to open this up. Okay, good, pump them up. So when we open this up and that fluid comes out, the pedal inside the vehicle is going to go to the floor. They inform me that it's at the floor. Then we close this, then they can release the pedal and repeat the process. Go ahead. One more time. Now we can see we have some good clean brake fluid coming out and no air bubbles. So that's it right there. So we're done with this one. I'm going to go ahead and remove our tube and close this up. Make sure it's good and snug. Now any residual brake fluid at this point here, you want to go ahead and use some spray solvent and clean this up. In some cases, you may have a rubber cap on your brake bleeder screw. Ours does not have it on this particular wheel, but if you have that rubber cap, go ahead and pop that back on. We're going to now go ahead and continue this process to the driver's side rear. Now that we've completed bleeding the driver's side rear wheel, you want to go ahead and top off your master cylinder before we continue. Open up the reservoir cap. Now that we have this filled up, we can go ahead and put our cap on. Now that we've topped off our master cylinder, we can now continue with the right front wheel. Remove the rubber cap. Go ahead and pump up the brakes. Pump it up. And one more. Okay, pump it up. And when you're all set, you can release. Now finish up with the driver's side front. Open up the reservoir cap. Sometimes you might notice with some of the fluid missing that the center rubber boot here will be sucked out. Just kind of push that back in. Now at this point here, you want to go ahead and fill it to the full line or max line. It's located on the driver's side of the reservoir. It's near the top, but you'll see it on the side. Now that we have this filled up, we can go ahead and put our cap on. And you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.